You know that little voice in your head, the one whispering wild dreams and bold ideas? Well, Tamika Levy didn't just hear that voice, she listened. It said, start an LLC, and that's what she did. Today's guest is no stranger to the Webb family. We've had the pleasure of working with her on and off for the past 4 years. In fact, Tamika was one of our original clients when we launched Webb, and it's been incredible watching her evolve and grow. Tamika is a certified life coach, a spiritual guide, and the founder of My Heart and Soul LLC. Her work is all about helping people find purpose, creating structures their way, and ultimately shining their light as bright as possible. From deeply personal coaching sessions to one-of-a-kind journals, Tamika meets her clients where they are and helps them grow into who they're meant to be. And yes, she even created a custom planner just for Web Squared entrepreneurs to help them slay their social media strategies. So sit back, grab your favorite journal, and get ready to be inspired because Tamika is here to share her story, and you don't want to miss this conversation. Let's dive in. Hello, listeners. This is the Web Remedy podcast, and I am Rinnie Orr, podcast host and associate director of Web Squared. And today's guest is Tamika Lebby. And Tamika is a life coach, and she's the owner and operator of My Heart and Soul. And we've been working with her on and off for the last, is it 3 years now, Tamika?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
And we also contract for some of your services from time to time. So we're lucky to have you, and I'm happy that we finally got you on the podcast. How would you like to introduce yourself this morning?
Um, well, um, yeah, I'm Tamika, mom of three, two girls, one boy. My oldest is going off to college this year, but my youngest is going into first grade. So I have a whole range of children still to raise up and get off into the real world. So I feel like my life is starting all over again, one leaving traditional school and one going in. Like Rennie said, I'm the owner and operator of My Heart and Soul LLC. I create custom and personalized planners, notebooks, and journals. I like to work one-on-one with my customers and really understand what it is that they need so that I create a book that works for them and specifically for them. Also within that umbrella, I do some life coaching. Life purpose is my passion, helping other women find or re-find who they are after raising kids or even while they're raising kids. You kind of just fall into a zone where you're wearing all these different hats and being all these different people to everybody else, and you kind of forget who you are and what you wanted out of life just for you. So I kind of help them get those moments back and rediscover that lost part of themselves. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of me.
Well, I love the name of your business, My Heart and Soul. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you came up with Heart and Soul, your vision, and maybe when and where it began to take shape?
Yeah, actually, it's an interesting story. I didn't really know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that that was a path that I was going to be on. One day I had just had my youngest, really just trying to figure out, I felt kind of stagnant. I was like, what is next for me? I usually make all these drastic moves and I haven't really done anything in a while. And I was just sitting back. I had my laptop in my hands. No, I had put it just right in front of me on the table. And I just kind of leaned back in the couch. And this voice just came and said, start an LLC. And I was just like, and it was as if the person was sitting right next to me. I was just looking around but it prompted me just to pick up my laptop and be like, how do I start an LLC? Like I had no idea how it worked or anything. And so I'm looking that up and it's telling me what I need to do. And so I'm starting the process and I had to find a business name. And again, I had no idea what this was going to be because I had no interest in being an entrepreneur before this moment. And I was like, so again, I just put my head back and I hear the words, my heart and soul. And I was just like, So I kind of searched to see if it's already taken and it was free. And I was like, okay. I was like, we're gonna do this. So I set it up and did all the things and put it away for 6 months. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even remember really that I had set it up. It was like it was just that moment, it was urgent, and then it went away. And within that 6 months, I kind of started trying new things and getting creative. I had never been creative before that moment. If you had asked me if I was creative, I would tell you absolutely not. Um, but I started playing around with making jewelry and just kind of putting ideas together. And then a few months after that, I wanted to start journaling. And I was like, so I kept looking for journals. And I don't know if anybody else has had this where you go, you buy a journal, you think it's perfect. Yes, I'm going to use this. And it just did not connect with me. I had tons of journals that I had just bought, and none of them pulled me in. And I just started thinking like, well, somebody made these journals, right? Like I should be able to make a journal. I'm in like my creative bag at this point. I'm like, I can do anything. So I I was thinking about it that morning. I went onto Facebook and somebody had posted something saying, have you ever wanted to make your own journal? I can teach you how on Canva. And I was like, who's listening to me in my head right now? So I'm like, I can figure this out without taking her class. I was like, let me just play around with Canva and see what I can do. And so I just started creating just what did I want to do? Like, what was this journal for? What was I looking to accomplish when I finished this journal? And so I just put together something and I was sharing it on Facebook with just, my timeline and just showing people my progress and hey guys, and asking other people who do journal, hey, what do you look for in a journal? I was just asking them because I didn't even know what to put in this journal. Like I had never journaled before this moment. And so when it was completed, I shared it. And when it came in, I was so excited. I think I took a video of it, shared it on Facebook. And a couple of people reached out to me and were like, hey, can you make a journal for me? I'll pay you for it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Okay." It was one of my friends on Facebook. She had asked first, and then another friend who I was in the military with, she was like, I've had this idea for a journal that I want to give to my kids. And I had never been able to find one or be able to put it together. Do you think that's something you can do? And so that was my first real personalization journal that I had ever done. And it was such an important project because she's a veteran like me. She had her kids when she got out. She got kind of into drugs a little bit, kind of lost her kids for a while. So she had been on this amazing journey and she was back with her kids and she wanted to tell them her story and she wanted to write it in her own way. And with very specific questions, she wanted to answer for them and give it to them as a gift. And so I was able to create these two journals, one for each of her kids, personalized to them with her words in it. And I think that was the moment where I was like, this is my heart and soul. And it kind of all came together at that moment. And I was like, this is it. This brings me joy. It brings other people joy. She was so excited when she got it and she showed it to them, just the covers, and they were like, oh my God, I made it to where it represented them in a sense. And they were so excited about it. And so I was like, this is the moment. So yeah, it was a little bit of a journey and I didn't know where it was gonna go. But I just stayed on course and it happened.
Wow, what I'm hearing is that you were gifted with a little bit of intuition before you even had a product or a service for folks. Most people will start the other way around. They
Yeah.
have a hobby or something they're skilled at or something that they could do to provide, help to somebody. And so then they turn that into a business. But what you're saying is just like, okay, I have this intuition. I got to do this now. And then you just sort of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it's really, I don't want to say that it's a unique sort of story,
Yeah.
that you're trusting in this intuition process so completely that you're just like, hey, start an LLC. Okay, let me do that.
Yeah. Yes, I was in a phase of being very obedient and really trying to just figure things out. and it
Wow.
down a great path.
Well, thanks for sharing that. So I remember when we worked together a couple of years ago and we were, putting together brochures and thinking through your business plan and stuff. One of the things that we came up with this catchphrase, like personalizing your personal development. Do you feel like that catchphrase still rings true to your business, or has that shifted any?
No, I still stand by that. Those are the projects I have the most joy with. And it makes the work more exciting because not every project I do is the same. And so it kind of gives me that, I get to be creative if I have to, and I really get to create different products. So everybody gets something different and nobody can say, oh, I have that same exact planner because no, you don't. You do not have that planner. It's not for you. So yeah, and I think that's what I want to do more standard. I've thought about it just to have passive income, just something a little less stressful, but I struggle with just trying to think of what works for the masses. I'm more interested in what works for the individual.
From this experience, you've also got some coaching experience. You kind of we kind of realize together when you're sitting down talking with somebody about what they need in their planner, what do they need for their personal development, that you're almost coaching folks. And so from there, you kind of like started adding coaching to your repertoire.
Yeah, it's going good. I do enjoy it. There are some courses I have in mind that I want to create. Um, because I want to take them on the journey. I don't mind the one-on-one, just random coaching sessions, but I like it to be focused and I like us to really be working towards something. And that also helps me to know what needs to be done each session and, to get you to that final point. And so there are a couple of courses that I have in mind, and I just need to sit and I don't like the writing process. I just wish from my mind to the keyboard it all happens and I didn't have to do it. Uh, so yeah, that's my next step. Trying to really, I have written a couple courses, but I haven't gone back through them and, really made sure everything is there. But yeah, that is on my big to-do list is some really targeted courses to help some people.
In your own journey as an entrepreneur through this intuition and creating a business from following the lead of that inner voice, have you had any like challenges or stumble blocks? And what has helped you kind of overcome some of those?
Yeah, and most of it is when I start to doubt. When I start to doubt what I'm being told or what I feel like I'm being told, sometimes I'm hard-headed and I really need clearer signs sometimes, or I completely just misread a sign. Also, what's troubled me is just more self-sabotage. This is new for me. I've always just been an employee and having to rely on myself to get motivated and to think of these new projects, and so that's been my struggle on and off. I've what I've learned is just through my studies and life coaching and things that I would tell somebody else in those certain situations, and practicing more self-compassion instead of getting down on myself and really starting to spiral, which is something I used to do a lot a few years ago. Um, I have to start to remember what would I tell somebody else and how would I help them get over this hump. And sometimes I just wallow in it for a second because you have to feel what you feel and go through those just being in that dark hole sometimes helps you to see different things and realize different things you may not be able to see, but you start to rely on your other senses a little bit more. What am I hearing and what am I feeling? And so if that's what I feel I need in that moment, that's what I will do is just feel it out and get to that other side and not try to kick myself while I'm down.
You talked about creating a planner or a journal because you were not finding satisfaction in the ones that you were buying. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, my favorite one is Their Beautiful Soul. That's what I named it. Within it, the purpose of the journal was to write a letter to yourself every day. Whether it was a great day, you're going to congratulate yourself throughout the letter. Give yourself all the props, mention everything that you did great. If it was a harder day, that's when you're going to sit and talk yourself up. You're going to remind yourself how amazing you are. Make sure you tell yourself you love, I love you, and within it. And it also had a feelings wheel. And I like the feelings wheel because instead of just saying, oh, I was happy today or I was sad today, I was mad, I really liked to be able to get deep into really what it is that I was feeling. And so that's been by far, I think, my favorite journal, and that's what helped me with my self-compassion and trying to talk to myself better and going back, just rereading them and it's almost like you didn't even know you can talk to yourself that way. And it helped me to
Mhm.
practice a lot.
Your business is very purpose-led, mission-led, coming from this deep intuitive place to really like, you're not just out there like finding clients to make money, but you're really helping people push through places that they're stuck and areas that they feel like they need help and transformation. Um, what kind of advice would you give for people, women especially, who are just starting out in their own business about trusting their intuition, that you wish that somebody had given you earlier on?
Um, Probably more of like just like let go, just really just flow through things. We like to have so much control over what's happening and try to overthink everything that could possibly happen or come down the line. And sometimes you just need to be in that moment. And what are you feeling right now? Like, who cares about yesterday? Like what are you feeling right now? What is pulling you? What is drawing you in? We ignore a lot of things, especially if they're foreign to us. The whole, if I didn't listen to start this LLC, I could have been like, you're crazy. Like, because again, I had no desire to own an like to be a business owner. So I had, if I were to be in my regular mindset and just be like that's just crazy talk. Like I'm bugging right now. Like or like talk myself out of it. I feel like if I would have done that years ago, I probably would have discovered a lot about myself a long time ago. Because I could have heard those thoughts in different ways before, and I wasn't tuning
Mhm.
in, and I wasn't believing what I was hearing.
It was an interesting phrase you just used, your regular mindset. It almost feels like this whole mindset shift, mindset growth thing, you're moving from regular to more intentional mindset, right?
Yes.
Regular is maybe those voices that are in your head from all those years of socialization, that are telling you who you are and who you aren't. And then intentional mindset is saying, this is where I want to be, and these are the steps I need to get there. You balance being a mother. I know that you work another job. You're balancing your business. How much time do you have really to give yourself over to like creating an intentional mindset for yourself?
Well, luckily, I have the issue where I just zone out a lot. So when I get into those kind of zone out moments, or I'll sit out on my deck, especially while my kids are eating or something, instead of being
Uh-huh.
here in their space with them, while they're interacting, they're doing their thing, I kind of just move away. And sometimes I just get it through random scrolling. I kind of just let my mind not focus on anything. And then that's when I start to get those thoughts. And I've tried meditating, but I can't just sit with my eyes closed. So my meditation is more just scrolling on Facebook or something and just
Mm.
and I also get messages sometimes that way. Like something will pop up and I'll be like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I can do something with that." And I find it in those moments. I just let myself just do nothing, be nothing for as long as I can. And then I have to look up and be like, oh, gotta cook dinner, time to get the kids ready, just snap in and out of it. whenever I can.
If you could have a celebrity endorse your a journal or your business, is there a particular person that comes to mind and why?
Gosh, that is an awesome question. I'm thinking it would be like one of the older, powerful Black females in business or actors even. Because I'm thinking like Felicia Rashad. I'm thinking, oh, there's this other lady I'm thinking of, and I can't think of her name, but they speak with such conviction, and when I hear them speak, just about their journeys and their lives. I feel like their message and who they are can really would be beautiful to see for sure.
If you were to have a superpower that would be specifically for being a life coach, what would that superpower be?
Um, Gosh, because I don't want to read people's minds or anything like that. Um, I would. 'Cause I'm already a very deep empath. And so
Mhm.
sometimes I take on too much. So maybe something that's like a barrier for me, more of an emotional barrier, um,
Yeah.
to protect myself from the energy that's coming in.
Mhm.
Because you do work with people sometimes at their lowest, and you can really empathize with what they're going through sometimes. And I do carry some of their weight
Yeah.
sometimes just because I just want to help take it off of them. Like, let me hold some, you know? So yeah, if I had more of a barrier or something that I can just like, okay, give me all you got, send it my way.
Yeah. I was listening to a presentation somebody was speaking a while back, and they talked about having moments of being a gray stone.
Yeah.
And it's a way of like when you realize you're starting to take on too much of the energy of the other person because you are an empathic person. I like to think I'm an empathic person, but sometimes it's too much,
Yeah.
you know. And it's really hard to keep those boundaries when you feel, you're really resonating with somebody's how they're feeling and their energy is bouncing off of you.
Mhm.
Um, it's just to take a breath and, say to yourself, I'm a gray stone because that texture of the stone, you
Yeah.
know, nothing can that texture of the stone, nothing can kind of like move through that.
Yeah.
And so that's I've found helpful for the last few months after I heard that lecture,
Oh, awesome.
like I'll be in a situation, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, I'm a gray stone. That just really like clears out the confusion I'm starting to feel in that particular person's presence that's, pushing up against me too much. So anyway,
I like
just a
that.
little, yeah, just I'm a gray stone.
Yes, I will gladly say that. And the fact that it sounds so random, people, and I will probably say it out loud too, just because it's like
And
I'm a
then,
great mom. Just woo.
and then I actually found a gray stone that
Oh,
sits in my
nice.
living room on a piece of wood, and I haven't painted it or anything, and I haven't painted the wood either. And so it's just this gray stone sitting on this little piece of white wood, and people come in and they go, okay, it's just a stone. And I'm
Just
like,
a great.
well, it's a gray stone.
That's awesome. Now I got to get a Greystone on my to-do list.
So, anywho, well, we are moving towards the end of the time that we have together. We're trying to purposely keep these conversations to be no more than a half hour. So people can, go about their day or listen when they have time. And, long form podcasts might have their purposes, but that's not what we're doing. But I want to make sure people can find you. Where do people find you? And what's the process if somebody says, I liked hearing about your journal and I want to meet up with you? And what is your process to get them started?
Honestly, a lot of my business comes from Facebook. Definitely find me, Tamika Monique Lebby. inbox me. My profile is public, so you can definitely reach out to me on one of my posts or just send me an inbox. I am very accessible that way. That is probably the best way to get in touch with me. Email, I have a lot of email addresses, and so sometimes trying to check them all on a daily basis is just like it's overwhelming to see
Mm.
that many emails. But yes, definitely Facebook, even Instagram. Send me a message or just comment on one of my posts, and we'll always set up a call, or if you're local, we can definitely meet in person. Be prepared to answer some questions I will have for you, because I do want this to fit you. So be as honest and as brutal. We go back and forth with the templates when I create them. I do send you them to preview for yourself to make sure that they do work for you. So you're on the journey with me. I'm the one who's putting it together, but it's your creation. I'm just getting it on paper for you. That's pretty much it. So
Well, I'll be hitting you up soon. I'm still in the process of figuring everything out. But I found a journal that has like the months at the top and then the dates, and so I can circle what month it is and what day. And it's great because I can write out. But what I want to see is like a section that says, this is my to-do list. This is who
yeah.
I need to contact list. This is what I did today. This is the amount of time it took me today, because I feel like there's some things missing from that. So I've been working on that to like get that over to you. So you'll be
Yeah.
hearing from me soon.
Awesome. I can't wait. Can't wait to get it ready for you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, thank you for having me. It's been great. It was nice just sitting and chatting and talking. So yeah, thank you so much.
We'll bring you back on again one of these days. So.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the end of today's conversation. Tamika, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your powerful story. Your journey reminds us that entrepreneurship doesn't always start with a business plan. It can start with a whisper, a feeling, a moment of clarity, and your work helping people discover themselves through journaling, coaching, and intentional mindset is truly inspiring. To our listeners, if Tamika's story resonated with you, or if you're feeling called to explore your own personal development, be sure to reach out to her on Facebook or Instagram. She's incredibly accessible and ready to walk with you through your own creative or healing journey. See the show notes for more information. As always, thank you for tuning in. We hope this conversation gave you something meaningful to carry with you, whether it's a reminder to trust your intuition, show yourself more compassion, or maybe even start your own heart and soul project. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, and stay well. Thank you for listening to the Web Remedy Podcast, a mindset shifting project of Web Squared. Wealth Through Entrepreneurship for Black and Brown Businesses is a North Carolina nonprofit located in Chatham County. We offer incubator accelerator business services to Black and BIPOC entrepreneurs. Our podcast hosts are Stephanie Terry and Rinnie Orr, the co-founders of Web Squared. We realize that building an ecosystem of support is critical to achieving our mission. Your donation to Web supports the podcast, Web's coaching services, and the promotion of the businesses and entrepreneurs we serve. To learn more about Web Squared, please visit our website at websquared.org.